matter about the rain, but it's a good day. Whenever you're above ground, it's a good day. Amen. Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shallowed beneath our hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Father, we thank you for allowing us to come together this evening to take care of the business of our children and their schools. Keep us focused on the issue at hand. Holy Spirit, thank you for supping with us and be with you. Let your peace reign throughout this meeting as we remember to honor you. It's in the mighty and matchless name of Jesus the Christ we pray. Amen. Amen. President is coming at this time.
Thank you, Pastor. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And thank you to the Day Spring Missionary Baptist Church for allowing us to hold this mass meeting. I'm Alachua County, I'm president of your branch, and I have with me the mayor of Hawthorne, who is the educational chair for the Alachua County Branch of the University. I'd like to introduce our other members of the Education Committee, Dr. Barbara Henry, Dr. Sammy Williams, and Dr. Mike Booth, who's our immediate past president of the Alachua County Branch. We are so excited to have you all here with us this evening. You're braving the rain. We thought it was going to be a beautiful evening, but it is, because God's rain is coming down. Well, I'm going to let our chair speak for a minute, and I'll close.
Well, as you said, we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and answering the call. I think some of my commentary was commit and don't quit. That needs to be the message for tonight. I appreciate our president for leading the charge on such a momentous moment here in Alachua County. Although we keep repeating the data, we keep repeating the steps, we cannot quit. We gotta keep repeating until we get it right. So I thank each and every one of you all for coming out tonight and not finding a priority to invest in children, whether it's your own or a stranger. They're all ours, and they're all important. They're all worth us keeping on and keep being committed to education in this county. I think, such as myself, many of us in this room are products of the public school system here in this county. And so every time I look at me and say, well, if I could do this, then what about the children behind me, what they could do if someone was to invest time, energy, and effort? And it's worth that. So education is very, very dear to me. And children only need opportunity. And that's what this moment is about, an opportunity for us to help them get an opportunity to succeed. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Let's give the mayor she took the charge of heading this committee. She runs hard, but she's going to help us to bring our schools up to an A, all the schools to an A school. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Yes.
And before I said, I see several members of our elected officials. We want to acknowledge them who have committed to giving an hour once a week to the school of their choice. So will our elected officials please stand? I see the mayor of Gainesville who said he's going to do it. Commissioner Ken Cornell. We need the entire community, everybody, every organization to please help us to to save our schools. We have the teachers and the principals, but at this point, we need your volunteers to help us. And that's why we're here tonight. We are trying to get enough volunteers. So we will get further instructions about the volunteers and after a while. So Dr. McNealy is coming. Well, Diane is here. There's something about the sunshine, and we don't want to mess it up. We don't want to mess the sunshine up. So, Di, you would just talk about the sunshine and nothing else, and we don't want to get in trouble.
Good evening to each of you. And because this meeting was not noticed through us, as far as the school board is concerned, all of our members, some of them are here this evening. I think I see Ms. Surgeon in the back, Dr. McNealy, and myself, Ms. Evans, out of town. And so that is why you see one person in the comments, that will be Dr. McNealy. The rest of us will be here just to listen, because this meeting was not noticed for us to be able to communicate in public amongst even more than one of us present. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. She's the chair of the Alachua County School Board. We're going to bring Dr. Leanetta McNealy, who is District 4 representative. And may I add that all of the schools that we are addressing tonight happens to be in her district. So she needs some help. We need some help on the children. Dr. McNealy.
Thank you, Mrs. Fox. But more importantly, thank you to each of you. I am so happy. And this, I was saying to someone just now, this is my 4th meeting for the day. But this one is most important because we do want to save our schools and our children, which is utmost important. Now, many of you who know me, you know I have been touching your shoulders in different places. And I said to my neighbors who are here tonight from 12th Avenue, I know I have you now. I've said to a lot of other folks, I know I have you. But those of you who don't know me, before you get out this door tonight, I'm going to be tapping you on your shoulder. Please, please don't turn me down, because I've been begging, and the superintendent knows this, I've been begging for folks to come to be compensated by pay even. But this time, we are asking for you to give up your service and to help us out without pay. That means volunteering. Now, many of you, I heard the chairperson say at least 1 hour. I'm going to be more extreme with that when I see you, because I know what we need. And I know mentoring is important, but the curriculum, the teaching of reading, the getting the children to school, because one of our biggest problems is absenteeism. So if you can just figure out how to do that and we get on your bandwagon, then we'll have success. Again, thank you so very much for being here tonight in this weather, but don't you think you're going to exit without me touching your shoulders. Thank you so much. And before we make the introduction of the next guest, I'll come up and speak. We just want to set the tone for tonight with the community. We ask that our questions be in regards to volunteering, or how we can serve the 4 schools or the 5 schools that will be conversation. No other questions outside of that concerning the district will be entertained. And we thank you in advance for your cooperation with that. Amen, because we in church. Amen. At this time, I have the distinguished honor of introducing Alachua County Superintendent, Mr. Shane Andrews.
Thank you, Mary Raymond.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's good to see everybody. Yes, we had to run through the rain to get here, but I don't mind running through the rain. That's why I live in Florida. I don't want to run through the snow. So, anyway, we are in Day Spring Missionary Baptist Church, and so just as we said, to set the tone and the climate, it's important when all the parts of the body come together to work together for His glory and His service. So let's have that frame of reference since we're here this evening together. Now, I do want to just recognize and applaud all of our educators in here, whether it's school leaders, admin teams, staff, teachers, former educators, and we have some retirees in here, volunteers, supporters. I see educators everywhere, and even if you haven't worked in the classroom, I'm sure you have educated our youth. So if you would, give yourself a round of applause. Because I see a lot of our teachers and staff that came in here this evening after a full day of work, as well as our district and school administrators. So I do want to say, again, in the offering of hope, we had improvement, and 3 schools came out of school improvement this year, correct? Terwilliger did, mid-year, Alachua Elementary School did, Terwilliger Elementary School, and Idlewild Elementary School. So it does happen, and it can happen, and it's going to happen in the schools where we're discussing this evening. To set the tone again, what we need is support, leaning in, we need engagement, right? If you remember about 2020, 2021, schools pretty much got shuttered up and closed for a little while, right? And guess what happened to parental visits, volunteers? They all just kind of got into a different routine, and when our routines are broken, it's hard to reestablish those routines, both on our side and those in our community that will come into our schools to support children. And so what we want to do is reset, let everybody know our doors are open, and we need and want support inside and outside of the school walls, right? So what we need to do is get back to what we were doing before the pandemic hit, and get back to, we know we're a village, and we know together we can. Separated for sure we'll fall, but together we know we can do this. So we just want to engage tonight, and then we also want to think past this evening, past this school year, and what that engagement looks like this summer as we crank up school again. So what's that look like as we start 24-25? We know our students have way too many transitions in their life. They unfortunately have to live transient quite a bit of the time. So where will they get their stability, right? From their faith-based organizations and from their school settings. And so we want to help create that safe space, that stability with our community members that want to help us out. Now, there's a lot of ways that we shared tonight on how we can do that, because each school is unique. And although we're talking this evening about how do we lean into Lake Forest, Metcalf, Rawlings, and Shell, let's face it, we need to lean into all schools and serve anywhere and everywhere. So, you don't have to live in Hawthorne to serve or Gainesville. You can serve in Alachua or High Springs or Newberry. All of our kids need advocates everywhere. And we have subgroups that aren't performing in schools everywhere across the school district. And so what we need is a collective group that's going to lean in and help students. And I think you'll hear different things from different folks this evening, that some of that may just be on the school readiness side of helping our little kindergartners and first graders with some of those basic things when they come in, with their motor skills, their physical motor skills, their fine motor skills, their recognition of letters, numbers, sounds, those types of things. And what we want to put together is a plan on how we meet our volunteers where they're at, and then align ourselves to your strengths. And the next time we meet, we hope to bring 5 to 10 more people with you. But aligning your strengths to our students' needs and us providing you the support and the quick training if necessary to help us prepare these students. Because you'd be amazed that as these kindergartners come in for next school year, what some time with 1, 2, or 3 children working on sounds, numbers, and all these things we assume they come with will help change their trajectory. So, and then it can move right on up from there, because like I said, we know we have retired educators, well, I'm sure we have counselors, we have all kinds of people in here, coaches. So we just know there's talent in here, all right? So I'll leave it there without getting into and off on a tangent. But, you know, our kids in the simplest of form, what do they need? Consistency. So we want consistency. We want, of course, we know how important accountability is, but that comes with encouragement and love. And so that's what our kids need. They need to know I can count on you and see you every week, or whatever it is that you're going to be able to help us. Of course, we need every week. We know that works, right? Take Stock in Children, we know that program. How long has that worked? Quite a while. So we need that commitment. But I want to ask for a commitment, not just to get us to May, but then how do we regroup, learn from what we did this spring, and really come in with an army this summer before we start school to work with our children. So that's the hope and the dream, and I know that we can do it. I can't do it, and just our educators can't do it, but we all can for sure. And we all know there's so much talent within our students that we just haven't tapped into yet. And each one of us can probably find that key that will unlock that talent and then watch it grow. And I guess I'm not the one that'll hook you, but if you just give it a couple visits, those children will hook you, and you'll be all in, and we'll win. So that should do it. My coattails being pulled. Thank you, Ms. Fox.
In our planning meeting, our chairperson made it very clear that we are going to stay on task and we don't want to go over, so we'll do that. Thank you, Superintendent Andrews, we appreciate you so very much. Okay, next.
I'm told there are 2 guests that we just want to recognize really big, Madam Chair. We have Alachua County here with Children's Trust, so thank you. And we have someone from High Springs, Byron Williams.
Oh, Reverend Williams, City
So
Council.
mayor of High Springs. At this time, it looks like we are at the Chief of Teaching and Learning from the district, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Randall. It's always hard to follow our superintendent, but I want to thank you, Mr. Andrews, for setting the tone and the direction for us here today. On behalf of the Alachua County Public Schools and Superintendent Andrews, I want to thank Ms. Evelyn Fox, Mayor Randall, and the NAACP for initiating this joint collaboration and community outreach. I also want to recognize our board members in attendance, Chair McGraw, Dr. McNealy, and Mrs. Surton. I also want to recognize the staff from the district as well as the teaching and learning team. Tonight's meeting has 2 overall objectives. First is to raise awareness regarding absenteeism in our SI schools. Dr. Graham, the Director of Educational Equity and Outreach, will provide an interactive presentation to increase awareness regarding absenteeism. The 5 schools here tonight have an average daily attendance rate spanning from 93% at the high level and 83% at the bottom. Our district's goal is to have 95% of our students attending school daily. Every day counts, as you know, because every day is an opportunity lost to learning if our students are not attending school daily. So we're looking for the community support to get our students to school. This may look like providing attendance incentives and spreading the word regarding the importance of getting students to school daily. Research supports that students that attend school regularly do well academically. So we want to make sure that our students are getting to school and getting to school daily. Tonight is also about the community engagement and mobilization to support our SI schools. There are 50 instructional days until the start of testing. The principals at our 5 schools today will share the volunteer needs for their school. It takes a village, and we are looking to the community to be our village. You can support in various ways. This may look like reading, it may look like tutoring, it may look like coming in just to listen to a student just for a day. I want to once again thank you for coming out to support our SI schools. And I want to leave with what Mayor Randall, I see she may have stepped away. I love what she just said. Let's commit our time, our energy, and our effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, as Dr. McNealy calls him, the chief of education and learning, teaching and learning. Thank you so much. At this time, we will introduce our principal, Dr. Brown. Oh, Dr. Brown, come on, Dr. Oh, I didn't bring this. Yes, this is Dr. Brown. I just met him today. Brown. For the first time, I haven't seen you before. It's nice to see you. Oh.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For those who feel so led, on the screen you're going to see a QR code. Ms. Roll said that this is an interactive presentation. If you have a smartphone and you can take out your camera and scan that code, it will pull up a screen on your phone that just says instructions. So you know you're in the correct spot, and it just says instructions, and you have a thumbs up on your phone for those who would like to. While you do that, I will just give a brief introduction. I am Dr. Gray Graham. I'm the real Dr. Gray because I have the degrees. The other guy, he just has all the headphones and the money. But I am the proud Director of Educational Equity and Outreach here at Alachua County Public Schools. I actually got my start teaching here at Alachua County Public Schools back at Duval Elementary before it became the Early Learning Center under Dr. Leanetta McNealy. She was the principal whenever I taught there. I also got to teach alongside Ms. Wanda Wakely. So it is a joy and a pleasure to be back. But one of the important things that we've been mentioning is the importance of being in attendance at school. So we're just going to take a few moments, because whenever we start talking about something that we're trying to get everyone to understand, it's important that we're all on the same page. So we're going to try and make sure that we have some very specific understanding. So we understand attendance matters. So we're going to start with a very short quiz. It's just a five-question quiz to make sure we're all on the same page. If you were able to get the QR code on your phone, you'll have a chance to answer. If you did not, we'll do some hand raising there. All right. So our first question: in the state of Florida, at what age are students required to be in school? At what age are students required to be in school? So yeah, if you have your phone, and it's a beautiful program, it updates in real time. So if you have your phone, go ahead and enter your answer. I'll give you a chance to raise your hands after we take a moment. So we've got a lot of people are saying 6, we've got some 5s, we're shifting in, no one says 7. That's good, because that's the wrong answer. Spoiler alert. So according to statute, the age of 6 is the age of compulsory attendance. So that means students are required to be in school by age 6. Now some will say, well, what about age 5? They have the option of going into school at age 5 if they turn 5 by September 1st. But they are required to be in school at age 6. That's important to understand, because one of the important markers for whether or not a student will show a trend to be successful is their level of absenteeism in kindergarten. Our next question: according to Florida law, who is responsible for individual student attendance? So is it, okay, so we've got some are saying the student is responsible, some are saying the school is responsible, some are saying the parents are responsible. So remember, this is according to law. According to law, it's an important distinction. it is the parent. Oh, see, this is why we're starting out like this, so we all get on the same page. In addition to that, can a parent be prosecuted for poor student attendance? Oh, we didn't even need to go through that one. That is correct. A student who is experiencing absenteeism, their parent who is responsible can they can be held up to criminal charges for a student not being in school. This is a really important designation for us to understand. And word of mouth, travels much better than even whenever we're sitting on our texts and our phone calls and things, right? So we've got to make sure that this message is getting understood in our communities as well. That it is the responsibility legally for the parent to make sure that their student is in school. And we'll get into some more numbers in a little bit, but I can't throw that in enough. It is the parent's responsibility to get a student to school. I know I said it a number of times, but it's that important. Now, when we get them to school, then we can start talking about how they're acting, getting and learning, right? But they've got to be in school. Our next question, we have 2 more left. How many unexcused absences is a student allowed before being considered truant? So the term truant, they're excessively absent. So we've got some 6s, some 10s, 5, 20. No idea, thank you for the honesty. That's why we're here. That's why we're here to answer that question, yeah. Some more 5s, 10s. So the answer is 15 days in a 90-day period. So it's not 50, so someone just said, so they can miss a lot. We're going to get into that. That's one of those common misunderstandings. But 15 days in a 90-day period is considered truant. That's excessive absences. That's excessive. Our last question, which of these is most affected by absenteeism? Behavior, school culture, student achievement, or the school and classroom structures? So right now, as a whole, we're ranking student achievement. We had some people who got a little bit ahead of me. This was a trick question. The answer is all of the above. It's absolutely all of the above. And so as we continue to move forward, along with understanding those important things and being unified in that understanding, it's important that we unify some terms. First term, when we're talking about attendance, academic achievement, what does that even mean? It's the student performance outcomes on instructional material evaluation. So that's not just the formal assessments. So we think, well, they got to take the FAST test now. Educators, the teachers in the classroom, the administrators are evaluating student achievement on a daily basis. So if we're evaluating on a daily basis and a student misses an A, they're missing an opportunity to receive feedback that will directly impact how they grow. Attendance matters. The term absenteeism is the habit of being absent. So you hear there's absence, there's truance, and then there's absenteeism. So anytime you hear that word for the rest of this presentation, this is someone who's created a habit of being absent. And then the final term I want to make sure we're all on the same page, habitually truant. So habitual truancy is a student who has 15 unexcused absences. Unexcused absences. Within the 90 calendar days, with or without the knowledge or consent of the student's parent. That is the legal definition. Now, it's important to understand when a student gets OSS, which is out of school suspension, that does not count towards the 15 days because they received that as a punitive response to what they did in the school setting. So those days do not count towards the truancy. Excused absences are also things that have to be approved. When we talk about truancy, it's the 15 days unexcused absences. Make sure we're all on the same page. So some quick facts. Absenteeism in kindergarten is associated with negative first grade outcomes. So if a student is habitually absent in kindergarten, that is an indicator that they will not be performing well academically when they get to first grade, or that they will have improved attendance in first grade. Absenteeism in the first month of school can predict poor attendance throughout the year. And so think about a calendar month. Let's say we'll go with the 4-week calendar. That's 5 days, that's 20 days. When we talk about being excessively absent within that time period, we're talking 2 to 4 days. If a student is absent 2 to 4 days within the first month of school, the data suggests that they will have an issue with absenteeism. Research shows that missing 10% of the school days, or about 18 days in most school districts, negatively affects the student academic performance. Notice that said school year. 18 days. This wasn't on the quiz. Does anybody know how many days, not my educators, how many days it is in a school calendar? Are we required to have days on the school calendar? 180. So if they miss 18 days, then that's a sign that they may have low academic performance. Just 2 days a month is known as chronic absenteeism. We're in school for 9 months, closer to 10, but 9 months. Twice a month is 18 days. You've reached your 10% for the year. So when we say, 15 days, that's not that much. You're only 3 days away from being chronically absent for the year. By 6th grade, chronic absenteeism becomes the leading indicator that a student will drop out of high school. By 6th grade. In fact, only 17% of students considered chronically absent in kindergarten and first grade were reading proficiently in 3rd grade. 17%. Irregular attendance can be a better predictor of whether students will drop out of school before graduation than test scores. Our superintendent had a document last year that we started using to guide our focuses in the district, the ABC document. Remember the ABC document? There's a reason that it was alphabetical order, and that we started with attendance. It is a leading indicator of dropout rate, more so than test scores. And then finally, attendance has implications that go beyond the current classroom. We start talking about looking at attendance as indicators of future levels of poverty, their work performance. It all starts with them being present. Bottom line, if students aren't in school, they can't learn. However, I've got good news. We've talked about a lot of the bad, right? But we have good news. Students can reverse their academic achievement and their performance if their attendance improves. This is not a situation where it's a lost cause. All we have to do is get the students to school so that they can begin the process. There are systems, interventions, different structures in place. We just need the students there. And so I think it's important to understand as we start navigating this collaboration, what are current things that are already happening that maybe we aren't fully aware of? We have an early warning system. If a student is absent for 5 days, if they have 5 days in the 30-day period, that sounds the alarm. That's the first red flag. The district schedules what's called an EPT, an Education Planning Team meeting, to address that, to connect with the parents, to get some one-on-one time to help figure out how can we help get this student to school. Now, immediately when they schedule that EPT, the first one, they schedule the second one. Because parents have a 10-day window to respond. The caregivers have a 10-day window to respond to that EPT. So they schedule the second one because what if they're absent 5 days within that 10-day response window? To make sure that we're following up, and so we have that plan in place, that structure. We have school attendance review board meetings. We have what are called our positive behavior intervention and supports incentives. There are a number of schools that are collaborating with some of our organizations in Alachua County to do pep rallies, to foster other ways of supporting our students understanding the importance of attendance, giving them that incentivization to show up. So what are some success strategies? So before we jump into these, and these are things that are already happening in our schools, I think it's really important that we understand. I was asked about 5 years ago, what was the biggest issue? What did I think the biggest issue in education was? And so some of my colleagues talked about equity, some of them talked about resources, and I pushed back and said, those things are very important. However, the biggest problem in education is that we as a society don't value it. How do I know that? Where do we invest our time, our talents, and our treasures? If we as a community are coming together to demonstrate that we value education, we need to see the investment in your time, your talent, and your treasure. And that's what we're here for today. So we have to understand the importance of attendance in education, increase communication and collaboration, our community supports led incentives for meeting attendance goals, understanding barriers for parents and getting students to school. We've got to understand, this is where the collaboration, the communication piece comes in. Us from the school, where we're in the school every day, we know it's important. You're here and you think it's important. That's why you're here tonight to figure out how we can collaborate. But we all are sharing the same mindset when we start talking about the ones who aren't here. So getting that understanding of what are the barriers will help us to be able to navigate. And you saw the big blue bus out there that was preventing most of us from parking and had to go all the way around. The Parent Academy is here to help as well. And so that mobile unit that you see out there is got about 16 computers on it. It's there to help us facilitate for our parents, how can we become the best advocates for our students? There are a number of ways that the Parent Academy does this. We have weekly webinars on Thursdays that are parent-centered around different topics. The fourth Thursday of every month is directly, specifically related to mental health practices and how we can support not only our students, but also our families. We have our district-wide parent focus groups, which tomorrow at 6 o'clock, if you are not doing anything and you would come over to Foster Elementary, we will be there from 6 to 7:30 just to take your feedback. You can sit down with district employees, learn about the different initiatives that are happening, and give us your feedback based off of your experiences in the schools. We compile a district course catalog, our mobile unit, as I mentioned, and then connecting parents with requested resources. Attendance matters. You're here, your attendance matters, so that we can get that same feedback so that we can move forward. And with that, I'll turn it over to our incredible principals.
Williams and Dr. Mike B. We will introduce them one at a time, and then you can have the principals kind of make their presentation. Dr. Booth, where are you? Okay, come on. Dr. Booth left. He had an emergency, so. Oh, he's coming. Come on, Dr. Booth.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I think this is definitely time. How you doing, Dr. Dre? We've done a lot of work together. And for those who don't know, Upward Bound Math and science is back here in But we can't get them there if we can't get them out of elementary school. Right? And so we got a lot of work to do. And I heard the challenge of more than 1 hour. And so I'm gonna, you got me on that. So I'll be there for more than 1 hour. Okay? Wonderful. The first person I'd like to introduce is the principal of Lake Forest Elementary, Dr. Elizabeth McNealy. Elizabeth McNealy has been in education for 34 years. She started her career teaching music in Broward County and then math in Putnam County. She has attended West Virginia University for her undergraduate degree, Florida Atlantic University for her master's and specialist degree, and the University of Florida for her doctorate. She was an assistant principal in both Putnam and Alachua County and has been a principal for the last 18 years at Terwilliger Elementary School, Rawlins Elementary School, Santa Fe High School, and now Lake Forest Elementary School. She and her husband Calvin had 2 adult children. Her daughter, who serves as a Navy analyst, and her son as a Marine. So she knows what it's about. So at this particular time, I introduce to you Principal McNealy.
I'm just going to get right to it because that seems to be my personality. I have Miss Mary X here, who is one of my kindergarten teachers, and will tell you, if you could give us an hour once a week to practice letters and sounds, believe it or not, it will help us build capacity to when they're in 3rd grade. And that's kindergarten and 1st grade. Say you love math. If you want to add and subtract, we'll put you in kindergarten first. But if you really like fractions, you go to 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Dr. Graham brought violins at Lake Forest. If you play the violin twice a week, all my 4th and 5th graders are learning how to play violin. We would love to have you come and support the violins. We teach piano lessons to all of our students, kindergarten through 5th grade. If you are a pianist, I can assure you we can use you in kindergarten. So really, whatever you want to do, if you love track and field, Coach Johnson's here. I know she has volunteers come out, help the kids. We want to win field day. My high school comes out in there. We only won 5 events last year, but we're trying to sweep this year. If that's your thing, please come. And all you need to do is fill out a volunteer form. Come on in, we'll find a spot for you. And I will tell you, I'm a high school person, but I love my elementary children. They do warm your heart, and you will see progress, and you will make a difference. So come to Lake Forest.
Thank you so much. Go to Lake Forest, please. I mean, it's a wonderful school. I really am telling you that. It's a wonderful school. It's amazing. My next presenter is the principal of Naacp Elementary, Christiana Robbins. Christiana Robbins was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In 1998, she moved to Gainesville, Florida, with her parents and 3 siblings. She attended the University of Florida, where she received a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in elementary education through the ProTeach program. Ms. Robbins later continued her studies and earned a second master's degree in educational leadership from the American College of Education. In 2005, she began her teaching career in Levy County at Joyce Bullock Elementary School. During her 2nd year of teaching, she was honored as Teacher of the Year. Ms. Robbins went on to teach 1 more year in Levy County and then began teaching in Alachua County at W.A. Metcalf Elementary School. In 2009, Ms. Robbins became the curriculum resource teacher and served in that capacity at Metcalf for 6 years. In July of 2015, Ms. Robbins left Metcalf to become the assistant principal in Myra Terwilliger Elementary School. The following school year, Ms. Robbins moved to C.W. Norton Elementary School, where she served as assistant principal for 3 years. Ms. Robbins was appointed as principal of Duval Elementary Learning Academy in July 2019 and served as principal for 2 years. In July 2021, she was named principal of W.A. Naacp Elementary School, where she has been serving for the past 3 years. So I look like, it looks like I'm dedicated to going to a number of schools over the next, on a regular basis, because I do know Principal Robbins.
Good evening. But I do appreciate the opportunity to come out tonight to be able to express to you the support that we do need at Naacp. I did want to share some numbers with you tonight just to further stress how important we need our students to come to school. Naacp serves roughly about 450 students, and just to give you a clear picture of the number of absences that we have at each grade level, up through January, I just wanted to give you those numbers really quickly. In kindergarten, there were 433 absences. First grade, 579. Second grade, 457. Third grade, 577. We know that's a very important grade level there with respect to testing. For fourth grade, 350 absences. In fifth grade, 310 absences. So where we need our biggest support is helping getting students to school. When they are in school, there are opportunities for volunteering from the community. We have math in our cafeteria on Tuesdays and Thursdays for our third and fourth grade students. And we come together as a school and we work with those students in small groups. Fourth grade is for 30 minutes and third grade is for 45 minutes. So if you're interested, I know that math at that level can be a little bit difficult for people, but we do give you the information ahead of time so that if you need to study those math problems, or if you need a one-on-one session with me, I can help you out prior to that session. But if you can come out and help with the math support, that would be lovely. And then there also are other opportunities, of course. If you want to sit with students at lunchtime or just volunteer in classrooms, that's available as well. So again, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I hope to see you at Naacp, because we don't get that many visitors at Naacp. So please come to Naacp. You might hear that we don't open our doors, but we actually do. So don't listen to that myth. All right. Thank you. I'll introduce the next speaker if you want me to.
Good evening. I am here to introduce Rawlings Elementary, Dr. Stella Adusa. Stella is a four-time Gator from the University of Florida, where she earned a Bachelor of Science in Telecommunication Production, a Master of Education in Special Education, a specialist degree and doctoral degree in educational leadership. Dr. Andrews started her career in 2003 at Eastside High School, where she served as an ESE and reading teacher, 9th grade team leader, associate director of bands, and activities director. Other professional experiences include serving as a district mentor for beginning teachers, assistant principal of academic advisement and school counseling at P.K. Young at the University of Florida, assistant principal of curriculum at Santa Fe High School, principal of Archer Elementary School, and a district supervisor of learning resources and instructional materials. Today, Dr. Adusa serves as the principal at Rawlings Elementary School. Welcome, our principal.
So we have a heavy lift at Rawlings Elementary, and this is not done with me alone. I wanted to make sure that I share the spoken success of our school with Ms. Shawnee Martin and Ms. Angela Tomlinson, my assistant principals. So I am the daughter of refugees, and so education was the only option for us because of where my parents came from. They came to the United States and they were considered unknowns. And so they left everything behind where all the riches were there in Africa to come here for a better education and opportunity for their children. But I still needed a teacher named Angela Gross to tell me that I was not only going to go to the University of Florida to be successful, but I was going to maximize the highest potential and opportunity of whatever I chose to do. At Rawlings, our theme is Mission Possible. Our kids know that we're there to teach them, but we need your voice to speak that life into them. That cannot ever be replaced with anything else that has more power. Because we've got the reading, we've got the writing, we've got the math, we've got the winners of your day. This is boys. But we need you to continue to speak life into them, to look them in their face, and really with the promise that someone gave to you, give it to them. So I ask you, come back to us, come back to our community, give back, give to our students in order to get back. You'll get back tenfold because they're going to be taking care of us one day. So we may need to make sure we're serious. So let's prepare them accordingly. Please bring your heart to Rawlings. We're ready for you. Thank you.
Good evening. I am introducing Principal Ed Hoffman from Shell Elementary. Mr. Hoffman has been a national board certified teacher and holds master's degrees, in elementary education and educational leadership. Since moving to Gainesville, Mr. Hoffman has taught 3rd grade, was a middle school dean, and an elementary assistant principal, and is currently the principal of Shell Elementary. Mr. Hoffman believes in supporting the whole child and has worked to create a calm room at school for students to learn about self-regulation. He has also provided trauma awareness and sensitivity training to his entire staff during the current school year. Mr. Hoffman.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time. Shell needs you, like the principals before me have said. It takes everybody. You can't do it alone. Teachers can't do it alone. We need you. Relationships matter. And for a student to come to school to bond with one person, that can be you out there. And they come to see you. That makes a world of difference. And that's how we change it. The game changer is relationship, and it's what you can bring to any of these schools that you come to. So we really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for hearing me tonight. Thank you.
Hello again. I am here to introduce Williams Elementary Principal and Yana Stokes. Take a moment and smile because these professionals are dear to me, all of you. Education is dear to me. And Yana Stokes has served as principal of Williams Elementary for 6 years. She began her career in education 25 years ago as a substitute teacher. Mrs. Stokes spent 7 years as a middle school classroom teacher, 6 years as a dean. She also served as an assistant principal for administration and assistant principal for curriculum, prior to being appointed principal at Williams Elementary. Mrs. Stokes had the honor of being selected as the 2023 Alachua County Public School Principal of the Year. She earned her bachelor's degree in communication from the University of North Florida and her master's degree in educational leadership from National Louis University. Mrs. Stokes is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and Incorporated, and is a member of Spring Hill Missionary Baptist Church. She also serves as program leader for Mind Village Project, Gainesville, which is a collective, which is a collective of Black nonprofit organizations who collaborate to support educational initiatives. Mrs. Leanetta McNealy.
Good evening. So, like the principal before me said, just thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I think it is so encouraging that so many of you came out in this weather because you wanted to show your support for education in our district. So, I know on behalf of all those principals, just thank you all for being here tonight. So I know everybody's put out the plea for you to come out to their school, and so I know you can only be in so many places at one time. So my plea is going to be just a little bit different. And so the first thing that we have coming up is I am honored, and I say it every morning on our morning announcements. We are celebrating 85 years as a school at Williams. So I also talked to the students, especially this month, about how the land that Williams is built on was donated to the Alachua County School Board by a Black man, Mr. Joseph Williams, who thought it was really important that a school be on that piece of property in Southeast Gainesville to educate the students of the community. And so it is important that we honor that legacy and we talk to the students about that every day. And so on Monday, March 4th, we'll be having Read Across Williams Day. And so the goal is to have 85 people volunteer to read, and we're hoping to get 1 to 2 readers in every single class across campus. Again, we're gonna do 4 30-minute shifts, but we wanna have 85 people commit to coming out to Williams in honor of our 85th year to read to students on Monday, March 4th, starting at 8 o'clock. All right. As was mentioned in the introduction, I also work with my village project and we do some attendance initiatives. So even if you don't have time to come to Williams, we will take donations for incentives for our students in the form of things that we can't necessarily buy out of our school budget. So we'll take your gift cards. My kids love to go to Five Below. They like to go to Hungry Howie's. They like McDonald's. So we try to give them some incentives, and some of those things we don't always have in our school budget to provide, but you can just drop them off in the front office. They'll get to me. I'll make sure that they get them. The other thing, I want to take a minute to talk about our teachers. And so they're an important piece to this puzzle too. And so we talk to our teachers about making things engaging for our students. And so they're working really hard to take kids on field trips to help build that background knowledge. But a lot of them are struggling with financing the field trips. So if you have it in your heart and you may not have the time to bring your body to the school, you can drop off your check made out to Williams Elementary School. We'll take that as well. Background knowledge is important for our students. A lot of times when you're reading something about baseball, but you've never been to a baseball game, having that background knowledge is really important. So we want to provide our students with some opportunities to go to Jacksonville Zoo, to go to the museum, and those kinds of things. So, so even if you're not available to bring your body, you may not have the time, there are other ways for you to be involved and support our students and their engagement in school and their attendance. So thank you in advance for what you will do to support Williams. Thank you.
Well, this was exciting. We got a chance to meet all the principals and everybody made a plea. So it's going to be your choice on which school you would like to work with. They all need your help and they all ask for it. So I hope that you will. And Ms. Carla is coming now, and she's gonna tell us how we can sign up to be volunteers. And we're hoping everyone here tonight will sign up, and we have other people who can make it, that's gonna complete the form. Commissioner Carnell, don't leave until you sign your volunteer. Okay, all right, I'll just finish this card.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. You all better sign up for Ms. Fox. My name is Carla Hutchinson. I'm a school improvement principal, and all I do is support these great principals in the work that they do. Thank you all for coming out on tonight. It means so very much as you have heard from our principals. What I want to do first is just talk about some ways that you can volunteer that may not have been mentioned. I've had the opportunity to sit in the seat that they're sitting in, and that's the seat of principal in what's considered to be a high-needs school. And some of the support that I received that was very beneficial, that we may not even think about, but it's impactful and helpful, is some of the resources that you may have that we may not have access to. And so when I sat in that seat, Dr. Bowie, he was instrumental in getting minority male mentors to Williams. And he wrote a grant where those mentors were paid. And these were college students from low socioeconomic backgrounds that looked like my students who came out and mentored them. I also was able to get him to assist with getting the UF Black engineers to come out and do a robotics club after school. That was helpful and beneficial. Ms. Job with the Cultural Arts Coalition was able to come and provide an after-school science club for my 5th grade students to reinforce those science concepts that they learned during the school day. That helped to increase our science scores. I had Pastor Thorpe at Faith Church that committed to recognizing one student each month with a $100 sponsorship that they could use whatever they wanted to use it towards. We had Greenhouse Church that provided dinners for my teachers when we had late nights, because it's hard when you're in a school that does not have a very strong PTA and you can't use your school funds for food to provide food for your teachers when they've been working all day and have to stay late at night. We also had individuals that provided gift cards for teacher incentives, because we have to motivate our teachers. This work is hard. It's hard, and as you see, they're dedicated and committed, because we see many of them here tonight. So being able to provide those incentives for them, for drawings, and just continue that motivation for them. Gift cards for our students, gift cards and gifts for our parents as well. I had Dr. Karen Cole-Smith with Santa Fe College. She provided, Santa Fe refurbished computers like every 2 years. There was nothing wrong with them. So she was able to provide those computers to me to be able to give to families in need at my school. So those are just some of the things that were done that I didn't necessarily have access to, but through community connections, we were able to bring those things into our schools. So you may not necessarily have the time, but you may have resources that could assist these schools. So I just want you to think about that. Before you leave, we have a couple of forms back on the table. One form we have is this flyer that says call to action. It has a QR code on it. You can take a photo, home in on the QR code, and it'll take you to a Google form where you can sign up to volunteer with any of these schools here. If you don't have access to a smartphone or device, we have a printed copy here. You can fill it out. It's a basket back there. There are pens available, and you can just leave it in the basket, and someone from that school will contact you. They will follow up with you. We also have a packet on volunteering here in our school board. Because it is a process, you're going to complete this form, state your interest, and what you would like to do is not on the form, write it in. Write it in. Do not bypass completing the form just because you don't see an area that you would like to provide support in. write it in, please. One of the processes, once you get this interest form, someone from the school will contact you because you have to complete a volunteer application if you're going to be coming out physically to the school. And so what we have here tonight is the Parent Academy bus is outside. It has computers on it. If you want to go ahead and complete your volunteer application, we have individuals on the bus that can support you in getting that completed. It takes about 5 minutes. If you're not able to do that tonight, there are individuals at the school that will assist you with completing a volunteer application if you need assistance. So you have that option, or you can complete a volunteer application at home. But we want to make sure that you do have the access. One other thing that we're going to do tonight is we have index cards that are in the bag. We're going to pass them around. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on tonight, related to the discussion, related to what we've talked about tonight, you can raise your hand. Someone will provide you with an index card and a pen, and you can fill out your question, and we'll get that question answered for you. That is all we have. Once again, thank you so very much for taking the time to come out in support of our schools.
Thank you. We are going to have a Q&A session. So if you have questions, we'll get the mic to you. Please ask a question. We're not looking for comments, and we want the questions to be about the discussion you've had tonight. Am I correct, Chair Jackie? Yes. Okay, any questions? Okay. Rashawn, would you get us some more mics, please? We need some more mics.
Good evening, I'm the BRT at Lake Forest, and it's more of a question of, it's a marriage. There's the child, there's the school, and there's the parent. And we're forgetting about the parent. So we also need volunteers to work with the parents. In other words, we have a lot of parents who are teen parents. So they may not have the knowledge, sometimes they're unsure, sometimes they're uneducated on how they can get their child help. So we also need, while we need volunteers for kids, we need volunteers for parents.
Questions? Any more questions?
I just want to say, I agree totally with that, because I really think what we need is some type of parent advisory board, or some kind of group to work with parents, because when we start talking about students being absent, students not performing well, we can go in these schools and we can work with them in the schools, but then what happens at home and afterwards? Thank you.
One of the ways in which we support our school and with the parents is each of these schools really don't have a strong PTA. Anyone, whether you're a parent visiting at the school or not, can join the PTA and be able to provide support with parent activities at those schools. So if that is one way in which you would like to assist those schools, you can reach out to those principals, fill out that interest form back there, put a PTA on there, and someone from the school will contact you in regards to helping to maybe establish a PTA, because some of these schools do not have a PTA. Establish a PTA and work with their PTA, or work with them in forming a PTA. Because I think maybe only one of you have a strong PTA. So that is one way in which you can provide support. We had another question.
I'm currently a foster parent, and I had this issue. I had a family member come to my house from out of county. So when she came, she was supposed to come with education and stuff to let me know how she did in the other county. She came with nothing, absolutely nothing. So the social worker dropped the ball. So I had to take off work, get her registered for school, be with my daughter, but since she was in the magnet program, I foster, I had to get an exemption for her. Mind you, I had no paperwork, I had nothing for her, so that took days for her to get into foster, which I finally did. I had her paper, had to write a letter. Once I got her in, that's when I noticed that she was in 3rd grade, she was behind. So not only did the question is, how can there be I believe not only are there absences with family, these could be foster kids that are placed with foster parents that we are encouraged to keep the kids at the school that they go to, but then that might not always be possible. So there needs to be a collaboration with the Alachua County School Board along with partnership to identify which of the kids are actually foster kids. And if they're foster kids, they need to get counseling. That could be an issue why there are absences. So there needs to be more collaboration. Right now, there is none. I had no collaboration.
Well,
with the school.
Thank you for your point, and it's well taken, and I'm sure our administration will look into it.
Ms. Roberts, what time is math occurring at Naacp?
Math in the cafeteria?
Yes.
8 to 8:30 for 4th grade and 8 to 35 for 9.
You need the mic.
Okay.
I don't want to use my teacher voice in the church, so. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we have it from 8 to 8:30 for 4th grade and from 8:35 to 9:15 for 3rd grade. Thank you for that.
Thank you. We did pass out the index card. Do you have questions from the card?
Yes, ma'am. One of the questions was, how is the district currently supporting parents, families in need of resources that help in attendance, basic survival, needs to improve attendance? Currently, all of these schools have family liaisons, as well as mental health counselors and guidance counselors housed at their schools. Those family liaisons, some of the things that they do is through home visits. They work with those families of those students who are chronically absent. They attend parent meetings. They help get parents to those meetings. I've seen where they provided alarm clocks for families. I've seen where they picked up children and brought them to school. Our counselors provide some of those basic needs that those families that they may need, as far as toiletries, connecting them with resources to assist with paying bills. So there are a number of resources that are within the schools that are supporting those families in need. And one of the things that we do have, as well as our school attendance review board, and that is a committee that comes together when we have those students who are frequently truant, and that board meets as well. The family has to attend, and they discuss ways in which they can support, the district can support them, and that student coming into school, arriving to school on time, not being absent. And they're followed up, and they have an action plan that is implemented, and then they have to come back before the board, and if those goals are not being met, then it could lead to prosecution.
Okay, any more questions?
Good evening. My name is Vita Carter, and I supervise our liaisons and our social workers at our schools. There are resources in schools. Please make sure if you are a community volunteer or parent, there are resources. Reach out to your schools so that you can find out what resources are available. Social workers, mental health staff, family liaisons in our schools, and they're in our schools pretty much every day. So if there's a need, please reach out to your schools. I am in student services. I direct a program, the System of Care, which is a mental wellness program. So there are resources in our schools. We just want to make sure those resources are known to you so that you will know who to reach out to and what resources are available.
Thank you.
It's another one, baby.
And I have one right here. This question, we're going to answer it, but we do want to remind everyone that we want to stay focused on the topic. The question is, what will happen if the targeted schools do not improve? They will fall further into what we call school improvement. They'll get on another tier. Will they lose money? No, they will not. Will they be closed? Depending on what tier they fall into, there are options, which is district managed turnaround, school closure, external operator being turned into a charter school. So it depends on what tier they are, and then we have to decide as a district on what option we would take. These schools are not looking at being close to closure at all. But that's why we're calling upon the community so that we can ensure that we move towards those goals of C or higher. And it can be done with us all working together.
I have a question. How many schools are there, under these schools that we are talking about?
4.
They can't hear you in the back.
How many schools are, have a school grade below C, and there are 4 schools, and those principals were all here tonight.
There's a question, 2 questions in the back. One is for Ms. Stokes. How do we sign up for March 4th reading session? Can you use the mic as well, because they can't hear back here.
I think if you want to go ahead and sign up tonight, Ms. Hutchins said that they have some paper copies in the back or the Google document, and she'll get that information to me. So if you want to sign up for the March 4th day, you use one of the forms that Ms. Hutchins and those provided, we can get that.
And if you complete the interest form, check Williams and put March 4th reading, and someone from the school will contact you.
The next question is, how is homelessness impacting students in Alachua County?
Homelessness, Ms. Carter, do you want to answer that one, because that's kind of in your, yes, I'm calling you. That's in your area. I know my name.
How's homelessness impacting students in Alachua County? Well, it is impacting our attendance. So one of the principals responded with her percentages of attendance and the numbers by grade level. Because our students are in transition, or they're homeless, or they're living with families, we are trying our best to make sure that we contact and try and stay in touch with them. But it's a two-way street, because the responsibility of the parent or the guardian is to make sure that they make the school aware of where those children are. So when you have a family liaison, you have a social worker, you have school staff databases that are trying to track kids and families. We want the community to know that there are people working to get children in school, but it's a two-way street. So the answer to your question is, there's a team in schools that are trying to find families. If you know where families are, children aren't in schools, please let the school know. It takes a village to help and support this insurmountable effort to make sure we're trying to keep it in contact with our families. I'm curious, is it possible to put on a website on each of the schools, since this is about volunteering, the volunteering openings, some of the things that they're looking for volunteers for? You know, if it's possible to put that on a website, then that might help too.
That's something that we will take note of and work and see if we can get that on each of the schools' page.
As a family liaison, it is, I'm finding that a lot of our local resources are being addressed. As a family liaison, I'm finding that our local resources are drying up. I have several people I'm trying to help. So all the community agencies that are out there, if people can contact them to figure out how they can donate, because we are really struggling in this county with utility, bills, and families are struggling. And when I contact agencies lately, it's that we have no money. They're out of money, so they can't help. So, I can't tell someone who doesn't have money, doesn't have the resources to contact an agency because they don't even know where they're gonna get money. So, as a community and organizations, churches, reach out to local providers and local agencies to look at how they can use monies or ways to help others. Because we're really running out.
Thank you. Okay, if you have questions that have not been answered, we do have the cards that you can fill them out. And someone from the district will get in touch with someone from the district will get in touch with you. We don't want to keep you much longer, but we thank Praise 107.5 is here live streaming this event for us. Acknowledge the president of the advisor for the NAACP Youth Council, Ms. Cooper. Would you please stand? We do have a in your program, there's always an application to join the NAACP. I'm sure everyone in here is a member, I hope. So we're inviting you to please join us. You could do better with more together. So we're asking you, if you're not a member, please fill out the application, and there's some ladies out front. And the good thing about the 12th February, other than it being Black History Month, today is Founders Day for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We were founded in 1909. So we celebrate Founders Day today by having this mass meeting and putting a plan in action to help our community. We do have cake and water in the back, our Founders Day cake, so please help yourself to some. I think I saw our first vice president here, Mr. Mike Howell, in the back there. Thank you for coming. Again, thank all of you for coming. And Mrs. Chair, would you come on and
Yes, ma'am.
go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mayor Randall. To Mrs. Fox, the president of the NAACP, and the entire team, we want to thank you for acknowledging that we need help. I know the superintendent said that earlier, but I wanted to re-emphasize that because this organization is about action. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart and all the entire team for doing this tonight, and we hope that you will consider a second mass meeting before the end of the year to say where we are and what has been accomplished. Thank you.
I want to say before we leave this space, thank you to each and every one of the principals, because it takes real courage to lead the family. Everybody on the stage, you know, a microphone and the sun is shining, but it took some courage to y'all to stand before this community and express what your children need at the various schools. So thank you. Let's hear it for the process. He's the leader of the train, so certainly courage all across the board. Every board member that's here tonight is certain, the chair, the vice chair, the superintendent, staff who showed up in numbers. Thank you all so much for the hard work. I said on Zoom, I don't envy them. I do not envy them in their roles and their jobs. I wish they do the same way, but work is to be done. And so we just want to do just that. I don't find it that it's by accident that we're here in a sanctuary, doing God's business, because this is biblical. He tells us to take care of his people, and that's what we are in a position to do. And with that said, I would be happy if, the shepherd of this house will come and close us out and seal the work that we're doing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful job. Thank you, John. Well, let's do it different. Repeat after me. Fired up. Fired up. Ready to go. Ready to go. Fired up. Fired up. Ready to go. Ready to go. Go in peace.
All right, and that concludes this live stream.